The full New Orleans City Council approves a grant program to help people install stronger roofs. As Sabrina Wilson reports, experts say having more reinforced roofs could bring down insurance premiums.
Tropical storm and hurricane winds can be brutal to roofs, and the city of New Orleans wants to help more people afford stronger roofs.
For elderly homeowners, a fortified roof can mean fewer repairs, lower insurance costs, and greater peace of mind during hurricane season.
The full city council approved the Fortified NOLA initiative, a $635,000 fortified roof gap funding grant program. The state of Louisiana provides $10,000 grants to thousands of homeowners to help them install certified fortified roofs. But oftentimes that doesn't cover the entire cost. So the city's program will provide up to $5,000 to income-eligible families.
Fortified NOLA is also a smart investment for the city. Strengthening roofs now reduces future disaster recovery costs, helps preserve long-standing communities, and supports housing stability in neighborhoods that are already under pressure.
I think that would be a really, really good idea because apparently what the builders and contractors are using, it's not strong enough.
Proponents of fortified roofs say they also end up saving homeowners money in terms of insurance costs,
which is desperately needed in this city. People cannot afford their homeowners insurance.
Louisiana remains in the grips of an insurance crisis.
I would also hope that that would help the insurance companies stay and insure, because they just leave because the homeowners file so much insurance.
Some insurers failed financially or stopped writing wind and hail coverage after hurricanes Laura and Ida.